How's the coffee?
Tasty for what I can taste because it's really hot.
We should have put together a ranking of hotel coffee from all of our travels so far.
Least favorite would be Chicago's coffee, surprisingly.
And Cracker Barrel's coffee is good, but not strong.
Yeah.
Very low. I wonder if there's anybody out there that knows how many milligrams of caffeine is in Cracker Barrel coffee.
Well, it just depends on how diluted they make it. It's the same amount of caffeine, I think, all the time. It just depends on how much you dilute it.
I think most of these places will dilute heavily for the fact that they continuously pour.
Yeah.
However, it's somewhat of a placebo. So you get a cup of coffee, you drink it, and then you think it woke you up.
Oh, you think? I always get a second cup because I know it didn't.
But I realized this after I got a can of that Aloha, and it had 200 milligrams of caffeine.
That's way more than coffee.
It's a little over 2 cups of coffee, or what 2 cups of coffee should have, which made me think after that, I think most of the coffee I get is less than what it's supposed to be, which is like 90 milligrams.
You mean the Keurigs at home even? Or you're talking?
I think we're getting gypped.
Yeah.
I think we're getting gypped. As well as everybody made a big deal about Tom Hortons.
Tim
Hortons. I didn't see it. I didn't get it.
I liked it.
I didn't get it.
So you didn't go into you only went into the one in Winnipeg, the underneath the hotel area, but the one that the kid and I went to in Moose Jaw, one, the people were really nice. Two, the donuts were far superior to Dunkin' Donuts and anything like that. Those donuts were stupid good. And then the breakfast burrito thingies that we got, the bacon farmers thing, I don't remember what it's called. So good. I'm so sad that we no longer have Tim Hortons.
Okay.
It was actually really good.
Well,
and I bought a thing of the Keurig coffee to take home so everybody else can try it.
Maybe from the food standpoint, but from the coffee standpoint, it's just like, maybe it tastes a little bit better than Starbucks, because Starbucks doesn't taste very good.
I don't like Starbucks coffee.
But again, I just looked at Tim Hortons as the Dunkin' Donuts of Canada.
Same, but with better food.
I don't mind Dunkin' Donuts coffee. It's fine.
Dunkin' Donuts coffee is actually my favorite coffee.
Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. It's weird how this light, it's like, sometimes it's in my eye and then it's not. The phone can't figure it out.
Oh, there. Yeah.
Did you see those crazy
the
clouds I sent you yesterday?
Yeah. I thought that the first time I saw it, I thought it was somebody doing Procreate on the iPad or something and just zooming into something they procreated because it didn't look real. But what you sent me showed 2 different video versions, but videos can still be tweaked. But then I read the thing and I was like, okay, no, that seems legit.
What was it called again?
I don't remember.
It was a extremely scientific name.
I think you sent it on Instagram.
Oh, it was Instagram?
Yeah, hold on. I'll pull it up.
All right. We're shuffling between emails, Facebook Messenger, and Instagram. I forgot all about Instagram. And then she sometimes sends me Facebook stuff, which I don't. She has to send a screenshot because I don't log into Facebook.
You said what?
I said I don't log into Facebook.
Oh,
so
yeah.
when you send those links, I don't get, you have to send a screenshot.
There it is.
Some of them are in like groups and stuff too.
Well, no, it wasn't on Instagram either.
It wasn't?
Because this is what I sent you.
It was on Instagram.
Oh, you tagged me.
I tagged you.
That's what it is.
That's what it was.
So many things to keep in. Oh.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. Where's the tag? Open. Here.
So this is, they're calling it polar stratospheric clouds. Polar stratospheric clouds. And I don't know if the phone will really pick up the color, but it does not look like real. I may put this up on a community post so y'all can see these colors. I don't think the phone's really picking up the severity of these colors here, but it's wild. I would honestly, I'd rather see that than the aurora borealis.
I was thinking the same thing, which is good since we missed it.
We missed it, but when we got to the hotel here last night, the clouds in the sky, it was like maybe there's some leftover the way it looked, which was crazy because we went to sleep around 10 o'clock and it was still bright
It was
outside.
still light outside. I didn't know that was a Montana thing, like being daylight till. I wonder if it ever got like fully dark, or maybe because there's no tall buildings, it doesn't. There's nothing to block anything.
I don't know. It was wild. I was like, man, did my time not change?
Yeah, we're leaving dinner, and he's like, "What? It's 9:30," and I was like, "Yeah," and we're like, "Why is it still like?"
I guess that was helpful because yesterday was a long day, a long drive.
Especially for you. I mean, it's long. It's the same amount of time for the kid and I, but you're the one behind the wheel.
Going so slow.
Going so slow. So it's definitely
Apologies to
you.
anyone who was stuck behind me.
Thank goodness most places gave a passing point at some point.
And most people figured out how to pass.
We only had 2 people that either
that's a
honked at
struggle.
us or whatever.
All I can say is hopefully that no one else ever finds himself in a similar situation. And if they do, that people aren't complete a-holes to them on the road.
What I did realize, though, is that driving through Glacier National Park, that if you have an issue, you are SOL because there's literally 0 cell phone service.
With AT&T, maybe
Oh,
Verizon
maybe somewhere
might
else.
be different.
Whatever they have out here might be
Maybe.
different. Okay.
But yeah, you need to be prepared when you're rolling through Glacier.
I took screenshots of directions. That way, if my service just crapped itself, at least we knew where we were going.
Speaking of knowing where you're going, a lot of people don't know exactly where they're going. And this comes to, or actually connects to a few different topics here, okay? And ultimately, they center around a fight. They center around a war, okay? And this battle that's being presented, a lot of people have they had zero engagement in creating this fight, yet they have to now fight this fight. Typical, right? Who wins? Who loses? Well, we know who's going to win.
The one with the most money.
Yeah. And they don't even have to fight. You see what I'm saying? But again, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. We got Squirrel Tribe here with me. My name's Kevin, Kevin in all caps, youtube.com/@Kevin247. In case we've got any newcomers.
Did you look up there?
That's a bison.
You know, most places you go, you see deer heads on the wall, but you get.
I don't know
bison.
what that one is.
That's one of the rams. It's a kind of ram.
No.
It's got to be. Or a
His horns are
woolly
way too
billy
small.
goat.
It's crazy. We just looked at a video from Glacier here, and just a week ago, somebody had a close-up video of a ram. I'm like, cool,
You're too close,
cool,
bro.
but really?
Yeah.
Today is Monday, right? So there will be a Mimosa Monday.
Mimosa Monday live stream.
Check it out,
2.0.
Squirrel Tribe 2.0.
Yep.
As well as check out the free links in the description down below. We realize that some folks are watching for the very first time. So we just want to share this information with you guys so you're aware. And this comes from people asking questions about, what does it take to cross the border, this, that, and the other. And some people just don't listen. But then again, there are other people who this is the first time viewing.
Yeah.
So there you go. We do have to oftentimes repeat ourselves, but that's okay. That's okay. So now, let's talk about this war.
Okay.
We got literally, NBC says that there's warfare against renters as homeowners fight the affordable housing push. Homeowners are fighting this affordable housing push, okay?
I would think because wherever affordable housing is brought in, it lowers the value of the homes that are already there. Is that what is happening?
You know what? I don't know why he just left, but
But he left his
he
keys.
probably doesn't realize he left his keys.
I think he probably decided he wanted to put his computer on something.
Yeah, I think
and
he's
type.
charging. I think he's plugging up. He's got a MacBook as well.
I
but
saw the
if your
silver
battery's
one.
not charged to start, then
Yeah,
the
it's gonna
beauty
die
of its
quickly.
lifespan
Yeah.
isn't. Like he left his keys on the seat. He looked very happy to
Get them
get them back. I was getting coffee in Bloomington one morning where I left my tripod. Well, the second day I'm getting coffee, this lady's in front of me. She's trying to get coffee too. And then this kid runs up to her and says, it's like, Grandma, here, you forgot your keys. And she gives her the keys, right? And she looks at me, she goes, oh man, she said this, I would have been hurting for certain.
My mom would say that.
She said, I would have been hurting for certain. And the kid laughed. She looks at me, she goes, they're about to get on a plane. And they're going to fly back home, and my key was in their bag.
Oh, wow. No, that would have sucked. Well, that's like my Jeep keys are in the Porsche, in the door. And I keep thinking, if I pull something out of the door and they fall out, or if a valet person decides to just walk away with them, or if we take your car in somewhere and then, I don't know, but I'm like, I have no better place to put them now.
And it's crazy. It's the thing that you do all the time. It never happens that you worry about.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh man, I was telling Alyssa the other day, like, you never just fall over standing there.
Yeah.
But the moment that you're on a cliff or a ledge somewhere, you'll just fall. Like,
I had an entire dream about that last night, just so you're aware. It's funny that you would say that.
But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that on
The 2.0.
So we got this warfare against renters, right? As homeowners fight this affordable housing push. And these are efforts to build more lower cost housing after a surge in rents and home prices have been met with growing opposition from homeowners across the country.
So what do they want to do? Build lower end houses and stuff? Because it's not like they're going to build stuff using the best of the best and then charge you the least of the least.
Like I said, it's a fight. It's a war. And no, this is not about the recent mandate imposed by the current administration, as Biden orders 3,000 reservists to be ready to fight in Europe deployments. He authorizes a call-up for reserve troops in support of Operation Atlantic Resolve.
Oh, I wanted to point something out about that. Keep talking.
I know a lot of folks are not excited about that one. They are not happy. Not necessarily for the fact that obviously they were enlisted and they were reserve and they understand what they signed up for, but for the reasons behind why this current administration is doing the things that they're doing. And fighting a war ultimately to line the pockets of the uber rich, uber wealthy elitists.
Somebody pointed this out, the way this is phrased from the White House, whatever it's called, release that they put out about the troops. And it says, these reserve component forces are to augment the active forces for Operation Atlantic Resolve to enhance the United States' ability to sustain its heightened level of presence and operations in support of United States European Command. So they were like, United States European Command? Since when does United States have any kind of European command? Like, how do we have ownership of any kind of... And I was like, maybe it's just the way they phrased it, but I can see how that phrasing would be iffy. You know what I mean? We don't have any command in Europe, in theory.
You know, the command is all subjective and potentially going to be changed overnight behind closed doors. I mean, shoot, even when it comes to Ukraine's membership in NATO. But we'll get to that really, really soon. We actually don't have a lot of time. I'm running out of time on this recording. But it says that a packed city hall meeting had residents standing up and shouting at city council members, pleading with officials to block the construction of apartment complexes for seniors and low-income renters, shouting, heckling, and arguing about crime and traffic congestion. The crowd is upset about building construction of apartment complexes for seniors and low-income renters.
Well, I think because the problem they're thinking, yay for the seniors who can't afford things, but then the low-income renters, they're probably thinking more along the lines of what media pushes as low-income renters being, the nefarious type of people.
They're saying that it's just going to turn this into a very high-density area. It's going to really change the look and feel of where we are, and people aren't happy about it. But you got to think, like, the people who are there are there because of construction being, and now it's like we're here, but we don't want anybody else here.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle. It's a struggle. While again, we have a struggle that I've been talking about here a lot recently, unfortunately, and this is after we just witnessed, which we weren't there for, the flooding in Fort Walton. Crazy flooding, but Florida weather, and we haven't even had a hurricane. Again, this is what Ron DeSantis says, knock on wood, we don't have a hurricane. Knock on wood. Look, all things aside, when he said knock on wood, we don't have a hurricane, that is quite possibly the worst thing I could have ever heard from the governor of any state and their theoretical plan, strategy, and action for bringing and keeping and retaining insurance companies in the state. Knock on wood, we don't have a hurricane.
Now, outside of the whole insurance talk, knock on wood, we don't have a hurricane. There's not really much you can do except for hope you don't have a hurricane when it comes to the hurricane itself.
Right.
So the knock on wood thing being old, traditional saying, I can understand with that. But in accordance with, it having to do with insurance, that's where the issue comes in.
Yeah, exactly. And now he's saying that these companies are pulling out because they're pulling this woke Bud Light position.
I don't see what Bud Light and insurance have to do with each other whatsoever.
Exactly. But AAA pulls out from offering insurance in Florida, following Farmers Insurance. We already know that Citizens is a last resort here, and at the worst possible time. Now, this on top of you sending me a link to a property listed for sale, and you were like, this looks like a really great home in our area. It's been on the market for 10 days. It's already had a price reduction. It's an $18,000 drop.
And it's still one of the lower price things that we've seen for how nice it is. It doesn't make sense to me. And I don't know if they're trying to do what people were doing a year or two ago where they were listing it low, hoping for overbuy.
They dropped it $18,100 on the 7th, or I'm sorry, on the 3rd.
But it's a nice
It's
house.
a great house. It's near the water.
Yeah.
Like walking distance to the water.
I'm like, how do we get it?
And honestly, unless there's like some blaring problem or like it's had flood damage or something crazy is wrong with it, I think that the big issue here that they're facing, that many others are going to face as well, is going to be the struggle and the challenge, not only with buyers and their ability to be approved by lenders, the higher interest rates that they're experiencing, unless you're going to pay cash, which is my recommendation. But more importantly, it's the insurance problem that they face, that, knock on wood, we don't have a hurricane.